Brother Ali is one of hip-hop's most honest and outspoken cultural critics of this generation. The Minneapolis MC has released 5 studio albums and 4 EPs, all under the Rhymesayers banner. This is a small segment of our hour-long conversation in which Brother Ali took time out of his schedule to speak about some of the current challenges he sees in the community and the legacy of his label Rhymesayers as they celebrate 20 years in hip-hop. Given the current relationship between law enforcement and the community, is there a path forward to coexist? People are very afraid of the term radical. And for the people who know a change needs to happen, for people of good conscience and intentions, who knows that things are not right, those divide into 2 approaches, not that a person has to believe completely in one, they are not necessarily mutually exclusive. On one hand, you have progressives who say that this is a good system, that is just not operating properly and we need to make progress within this system. We can work within the system and do better. Part of Martin Luther King's life in 1963 when he made the I Have a Dream speech, he would have been considered a progressive. Whereas, contrasted with Malcolm X, who was saying that the system never had poor people in mind, never had black people in mind, it never had women in mind, and so Malcolm would be considered a radical. There are people who are radical, like Malcolm, who would say the system is fundamentally flawed and there needs to be radical changes. Radical doesn't necessarily mean violent. The conservatives have conflated these issues to imply that radical means that somebody wants to kill people, and to be violent. That's what they said about Malcolm. They said Malcolm is the violent one, Martin Luther King is the non-violent one, and it's much more complicated than that. Malcolm never committed any violence and never told anyone to commit violence. Malcolm may have asked the question, why is America violent in all of her disputes? This idea that is pervaded by people of power that being a radical means that you're violent. I would say that my philosophy is that there are some very flawed things in the makeup of our civilization, and that those things ought to be addressed. Does that mean that I don't believe in progress action? I think short-term, progressive things are good. Is that the ultimate solution? No, it's definitely not.